Wild card weekend is finally here, and before we really talk about the games themselves, I just want to talk about week 17. I went 9-7, which is terrible. But I mean, there was like a bunch of upsets, so I mean, can't really blame me. But I'm about to go 4-0 in these predictions because they're kind of really predictable. Besides the first game, which is Tennessee at Kansas City. Um, I just think if you look at the stats, first of all, you pretty much think, oh, the Chiefs got this in the bag. But you just can't just look at the stats and make a decision because the Chiefs are one of the best teams offensively in the league. They have a good rushing attack. They got a good passing attack. But the Titans have a good run defense. Their secondary isn't all that good. I don't think they can stop the Chiefs in regular conditions. That's a key word. Regular conditions. Alex Smith seems to struggle as the year progresses in cold weather. I mean, I fully expect this game to be cold. It's a playoff atmosphere game in Kansas City. Yes, the Chiefs are at home, but I do expect Alex Smith to struggle in cold weather, how he usually does. Now, the Chiefs' defense isn't all that good. It's one of the worst in the league in terms of yardage allowed. But when it comes to points allowed, they're like middle of the pack. And the Titans' offense isn't really all that good either. Marcus Mariota has struggled all year. The run game hasn't been there all year. And now it's a Derrick Henry show. DeMarco Murray is out for the week or for the game. So he's not playing. So now it's just Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry struggles sometimes. Every now and then he does have a big run. But for the most part, he struggles to get the run game going. So who knows? I do expect this game to be really, really close. But at the end of the day, I just do not see a way where the Titans secondary stops Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt out of the backfield. I do expect them to completely stop the run, how they've been doing. But at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to stop those Kansas City weapons. And I just feel like the Chiefs have been here before so many times in the playoffs. And the Titans are a young team that haven't been in the playoffs like 10 years. So I feel like this is one of those situations where the Chiefs just have more experience. They're at home, despite Alex Smith not being good in cold weather games. I still expect the Chiefs to pull this one out, 24-20. Falcons at Rams. Look, the Falcons have the offensive personnel to beat anyone. They have a good quarterback in Matt Ryan. They have a top 3 receiver in Julio Jones. They have what's his name, Mohamed Sanu is a good complement to Julio Jones. They got, of course, Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman. So they absolutely have the offensive firepower to, say, win a shootout versus Jared Goff and Todd Gurley. But it just hasn't happened for them at all this season. I'm not sure why. Probably because offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan is currently or left them for San Francisco. So that's probably the biggest reason why coaching does indeed matter. And I just do not see there a single way how these Falcons can march in there into LA in an environment that I'm sure is going to be so deadly because LA loves their Rams. And it's like the first playoff game in years, like a really long time since LA has hosted a playoff game. And I just feel like Todd Gurley's going to be unstoppable. His first playoff game in his career. Yes, the Falcons do have way more playoff experience, but I just do not see them going. I mean, they haven't been able to get going all year long. They've kind of just been inching their ways through wins and stuff like that. So I don't expect them to stop Todd Gurley. I don't expect them to stop Jared Goff. I don't expect them to get going against Aaron Donald, Trumaine Johnson, Robert Quinn, and that Wade Phillips defense. It is going to be a relatively close game though, because that's kind of like what the Falcons like to do this season. So I'm predicting somewhere around 28 to 21. Rams win. Buffalo Bills at Jacksonville. Man, I would really like to see the Bills win because I think it'd be awesome to have the Bills win like their first playoff game since like '95. It'd be cool, but I mean, realistically, the Bills stand it absolutely no chance. I mean, they're one of the worst teams in their passing game, one of the worst in the league. Points scored, one of the worst in the league. Defensive points allowed, worst in the league, or one of the worst in the league. Passing yards allowed, one of the worst in the league. Rushing yards allowed, one of the worst in the league. Like they're all around a pretty bad team. I don't expect them to really do much. LaShawn McCoy is banged up, so he might not be ready to go. And even if he is ready to go, he's not going to be 100%, so he's not going to be fully effective. I don't expect them to be able to get a run game going, and if they can't get a run game going, it means Tyrod Taylor's going to have to air the ball out, which is something he really can't do, and especially against that Jaguars defense. Yeah, I don't like their chances. The only chance they have is if Blake Bortles completely Blake Bortles the game, but I fully expect Leonard Fournette to run all over these Bills. I'm expecting an ugly game, honestly. I'm taking the Jaguars 35-10. Panthers at Saints. The Saints are probably one of my favorite teams in this thing. I fully think they can go all the way. And the Panthers, I mean, literally, if you go look up inconsistent in the dictionary, you're going to see a picture of Cam Newton. Because, I mean, 1 week the guy is totally on fire, throws 3 touchdowns, runs 1 in, has 300 yards passing, 50 yards rushing. And then the next week he has 150 yards passing, 20 rushing, and 2 interceptions and a touchdown. Like, seriously, Cam Newton's probably as inconsistent as a quarterback comes. And yes, their defense is pretty decent, but I just don't think they're going to be able to stop the two-headed monster, Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. Yes, they do have the number 3 rush defense in the league, but I mean, people seem to be forgetting about Drew Brees. People are thinking, oh yeah, you just stop their run game and they're not going to do anything. No, they got Drew Brees. Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, one of the greatest of all time. And if Drew Brees has to put up 500 yards passing on you, he's going to do it. Drew Brees has been here before, and he's a perfect leader to help this young team led by rookies, because that's pretty much what it is. I mean, Alvin Kamara, Marshawn Lattimore completely turned this team around on both sides of the ball. Yes, the Saints defense isn't great, but it's middle of the pack, and it's good enough. When you have Drew Brees at the helm, an average defense gets the job done, because Drew Brees can just air the ball out against the Panthers in particular, because against any other team, he can just hand the ball off and they'll do the work for him. But against the Panthers in particular, because they do have a good run defense, all Drew Brees has to do is air the ball out, make them play further back, and then just hand the ball off. You know, a lot of people like to set up the pass game by running the ball, but Drew Brees can do the total opposite. He can set up the run game by passing the ball, making the linebackers play further back, especially when you got Alvin Kamara, who 81 receptions, 800 yards, 5 receiving touchdowns. Like, you cannot not, you know, focus on him. I feel like he's their biggest weapon. And of course, you got Michael Thomas. Who's going to cover Michael Thomas? I expect this game to be pretty ugly, similar to the first Saints and Panthers meeting. The Saints fans have been waiting, 5 years for a playoff game in their city, and they finally got one. I feel like the Saints are going to completely crush these Panthers 34-16 at home. So those are my predictions for the week. Make sure to comment down below your own predictions for the week, and make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.